Well, good morning again, those of you who are listening in. I'm Michael Leverton. I've written a book called 150 Shards of Light, and I'm reading extracts from these shards, which are basically short stories from the Bible, but told in my own personal perspective. And hopefully you're enjoying listening to them. The one I'm working through at the moment concerns Daniel. There's a book in the Bible called the Book of Daniel, and it's well worth reading. He was taken into exile in Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar, and his doings with Nebuchadnezzar are sorted out in previous shards, which you're welcome to listen to. But basically, he has survived Nebuchadnezzar, and the Persians and Medes have now overthrown Nebuchadnezzar's family and taken over control of Babylon. And in so doing, they've taken over control of Daniel as well. Unfortunately, the Darius, who is the leader of the Medes and Persians, has similar problems to Nebuchadnezzar. He's full of his own importance. And this is not a good thing to do when you are around Daniel, for reasons that I will now explain. So, here we go. Now, Darius and I got on pretty well, but he did have a weakness for his own importance. That caused the next event in my story. Darius intended to promote me to become the administrator over the whole kingdom, on a par with Joseph in Egypt, if you remember. Well, needless to say, this got up the noses, yet again, of the other administrators and satraps, excuse me, who tried to find grounds to charge me for maladministration. Well, they couldn't. They couldn't find anything to hold against me. So they decided to appeal to the king's vanity. They did this by persuading him to issue an edict that anyone who prayed to any god or man other than him should be thrown into the lion's den. Apparently there was a lion's den in those days. Well, they knew I wouldn't pray to anyone except my God, so they thought they had me. So that evening, the king gave the order, and I was thrown into the lion's den. I thought the end had come. I was prepared for it. When I landed in the den and picked myself up, there were the lions coming towards me and looking mighty hungry, if I might say so. But then an astonishing thing happened. An angel appeared. I expect you know about angels, don't you? They're not the sort of person you want to meet on a dark night if you're up to mischief. This one looked really scary, and he had a flaming sword. He touched the lions on their mouths, and they, the mouths that is, not the lions, stayed shut all night. In fact, all they could do was lie as far away from me as they could get and whimper. Well, the king was pretty distraught that he'd had to throw me into the den in the first place. So at first light, he was down there checking to see if there was any hope for me. I was able to assure him that all was well and that God had rescued me. He had me lifted out of the den, and those who had accused me, together with their families, were thrown in instead. Well, no sooner was this done than the lions killed them all. The net result of all this was that I prospered during the reigns of both Darius and Cyrus, his successor. I don't know about you, but I think that's a story that can more than hold its own with that of Joseph in Egypt. And if that wasn't enough, God gave me some monumental visions and dreams that you will find in the latter half of my book in the Old Testament. Even today, 2,500 years later, experts are still trying to interpret precisely what they mean. See you again soon, I hope.